Hi students, I'm Dr. Bhavna. In this lecture, we are going to continue with the topic that is called as ecosystems. So in the last class, we already have done we have started with ecosystems. So in ecosystems, basically, what is the topic which we have seen and how it is done is first we have started with the definition of ecology. For you to understand with the topic called as ecosystems, first you have to understand the ecology chapter basically. So ecology means it is the study of organisms and its population, not only with among themselves but also with the environment. So ecosystem means it is a place where you're living, that is the environment where you're living, so that will contribute to ecosystems. So it may vary from normally a small pond to a large area, it may vary. From a small pond to a large sea, it will vary from one place to another. So here the ecosystem plays a very important role in this point. So basically the concept is ecosystems are usually three types, that is terrestrial ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, and man-made ecosystems. Terrestrial ecosystems. Terrestrial means what? Land. So all the forests, grasslands, and the numerous areas like deserts, these all will come under these ecosystem terrestrial. When it sees like aquatic ecosystems, it is nothing but normal sea, or you can say it as like small ponds to sea or lake, anything will come under aquatic ecosystem. What about man-made ecosystem? Important neat question that you have to remember. Man-made ecosystem, crop fields as well as aquarium will come under man-made ecosystem. So usually there are basically three types of ecosystems which are present. That is terrestrial, aquatic, and man-made. I want you all to remember because it is very important and neat point of view. So three types. Yesterday we have already discussed in the last class about the types. That is terrestrial, then aquatic, then man-made. Examples are only important in neat point of view. Man-made means crop fields and aquarium, which we have made. That's why we call it as man-made, right? So that about aquatic ecosystems is like from small ponds to large lakes and all. Then it is terrestrial is you all know like forest, grasslands and all. So these are the types which are present in types of ecosystems. So next we are going to continue like what is stratification. Like see, biotic and abiotic environment, in the biotic and abiotic both will interact with each other. Biotic environment and abiotic. Biotic means what? All the living things which are present. Abiotic means all the non-living things like temperature, water, soil, these all are abiotic components. So there should be interaction between the biotic and abiotic components, right? So the continuation comes as what is stratification exactly? What is the term that is called as stratification? Stratification means vertical distribution of species from one area to another. Vertical distribution of species. I want you to clearly remember the definition of this. Vertical distribution of species in a specific area is stratification. So normally suppose you take an example of a forest. What you will see first in a forest, if you imagine, first small herbs you will see. Herbs means small trees. Then later shrubs like grasses. Then herbs, shrubs, and finally trees. So they all are arranged in a sequence. So this sequence is called as stratification, like vertical distribution of species. Vertical, not horizontal distribution. I want you to clearly understand the definition regarding this. So the vertical distribution of species from one area to another is called as stratification. Numerous times in Neet they will ask this question, like vertical distribution of species from one area to another. Examples they'll give you as stratification, standing crop, biomass, or productivity. The answer is stratification. So this is about the first, what are the different types of ecosystems, what is stratification and how it range. Already I have given an example regarding this. So what example I have given? I have given an example of a small pond. Suppose you take a small pond or a lake, you take. What you see in that? What are the abiotic and biotic components? Lake means only you should get an idea that it is an ecosystem, means that is an environment where all the biotic and abiotic components will combine with each other. So abiotic means what? Temperature, light, soil, and all are abiotic. Biotic means what? All the living things, like living organisms, are called as biotic. So there is a combination that is present. When you come here to this topic of lake, first you see what are the biotic components. Biotic means what? All the small plants and all will come under biotic only, like small herbs, or you see numerous plants. Lake means only you see numerous plants, right? So in numerous plants, if you see here in this small lake, if numerous plants are present, right? So they are also called as phytoplanktons. Phyto. Next, those organisms, like those which feed on these phytoplanktons, they are called as zooplanktons. Zooplankton. This is an aquatic ecosystem I'm specifying. Again, for terrestrial ecosystem, it will vary. So I want you to clearly understand. So when you come to phytoplanktons, then you come to zooplanktons. Phytoplanktons means small herbs and all. These will come. Zooplanktons means the animals which are feeding on these phytoplanktons. So uh, these zooplanktons, then next stage it will come as some organisms, again whales and all will feed on these zooplanktons also. Whales. So phytoplankton, zooplanktons, whales. This is an order which is following. And by the way, here phytoplanktons, they are called as producers. Next, zooplanktons, they are called as consumers. Here, whales, they are called as secondary consumers. These are also called as consumers only, but one are primary consumers, another one are secondary consumers. Only these are called as producers, consumers. I'll tell you in detail what are producers and what are consumers. So this is about that. Then here biotic, abiotic interact with each other in a lake and they live together. We all know about all these things. But the important concept that you should remember is this full will contribute to that of ecosystem. Then later, these organisms will die some or other time, right? These zooplanktons and all. Then these detrivores are present, like decomposers. We can say decomposers as detrivores also. So decomposers or detrivores means which break down the detritus into smaller particles. So they are called as detrivores. So here the all the bacteria and fungi, they act as detrivores in this ecosystem. So here there are producers, consumers, detrivores, all are living together in a ecosystem here. In a combined state, they all are living. So this is contributing to that of a ecosystem in aquatic. And here the energy also is transferred from one place to another. From these zooplanktons will feed on phytoplanktons. These whales will feed on zooplanktons. Like that, it is following in an order and the energy is transferred from one place to another. This transfer of energy is only one component of ecosystem. Now we have seen what are the four main components of ecosystem. The four main components of ecosystem will come as productivity. We have discussed in the last class. Productivity. Then the second one is like decomposition, energy flow. The third one is energy flow. Fourth is nutrient cycling. So these are the four important things that you should remember. First one, productivity, decomposition, energy flow, and nutrient cycling. When these all participate together with each other, this is only called as an ecosystem. So I want you to clearly differentiate between what is ecology, what is ecosystem, and how this all is taking place. What is stratification, that is vertical distribution of species from one place to another, like from one given species to another species is called as stratification. Suppose if it is in a forest, it may vary from like small herbs to trees and all. Then later in aquatic ecosystem, I have given you numerous examples. Then we will describe about, I'll just, for who, those who have missed the last class, I'll tell you about the last, we have seen in the productivity. So basically, in the productivity, when it comes to productivity, I'll tell you. In productivity, productivity means what? Amount of biomass or amount of organic matter that is present in a specific area. Amount of organic matter that is transferred from one level to another is called as productivity. Amount of organic matter that is transferred. So what is the amount of organic matter or amount of biomass that is produced is called as productivity by any organism, you can say. But if you are referring to it as primary productivity or secondary productivity, then it varies. Under productivity, again it is classified as primary and secondary. Primary productivity means what? The amount of biomass that is produced by the plants during photosynthesis. Biomass produced by plants during photosynthesis is primary productivity. When you come to secondary productivity, biomass that is produced by the consumers is referred to as secondary productivity. There is exactly differentiation between the primary and secondary productivity. Primary means amount of biomass that is produced by plants during photosynthesis. Biomass that is produced by consumers is secondary productivity. What is totally productivity means? Amount of biomass produced by organisms. Don't get so much confused. This is by primary means plants. That's all. Secondary means by consumers which eat the plants. So this is called as secondary. Again, in primary productivity, it is divided into two types. That is nothing but the primary gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. Gross and net. Under gross primary productivity, amount of biomass that is produced by the plants during photosynthesis, same will come. Whatever is for primary productivity, same will come for gross primary productivity also. But when you come to net primary productivity, it will vary for you. Like how it is going to vary? Like in net primary productivity, the amount of biomass, same that is produced by the plants, minus the respiration losses, means the plants also will have like respiration and all, right? So it is like we are eliminating that point, like minus the respiration losses. So how you calculate is net primary productivity equal to gross primary productivity minus the respiration losses. Gross primary productivity minus the respiration losses is net primary productivity. So this is about the gross as well as net primary productivity. Don't get confused. So many people are asking the questions regarding this. I want you to clearly understand there is nothing much to get confused here. Primary, secondary. What is productivity? Amount of biomass produced by organisms. Primary means by plants. Secondary means by consumers. That's all. Then next, gross primary productivity, net primary. Gross is like in primary only, same like it is produced by plants. This is also by plants only, but plants will have a mechanism that is called as respiration, so that you are eliminating. So gross primary productivity, important neat question. Many times like in a formula they'll ask. So gross primary productivity minus respiration losses is equal to net primary productivity. This is about that. So this we have seen about the productivity. Next we have we have completed one component of productivity, that is one component of ecosystem, that is productivity. Next, what I have told you, I told you there are four components. The first one is productivity. The second one is like I told you it is decomposition. So we will see about the decomposition process. Yes, so when we are talking about the second topic, that is called as decomposition. What is decomposition? First definition you have to understand. For productivity also you have understood about the definition, right? So like that only for decomposition also I want you to understand. Productivity means amount of biomass, that is, I am repeating once or twice so that if you have missed the last class, I want you all to revise clearly about this, because all these definitions some or the other time they'll ask in the Neet. So about the first productivity is done. Next about the decomposition. When you come to decomposition, the breakdown of inorganic into inorganic molecules is nothing but decomposition. That is breakdown of organic molecules into inorganic. Like, give me the example how organic are broken down into inorganic. Numerous, the air which we breathe, that is like carbon dioxide, it is an organic molecule. It is broken down into small molecules. Or the solutes which we consume, like glucose and all, everything are converted. This process of conversion or breakdown of organic molecules into inorganic molecules is called as decomposition, like CO2 or numerous solutes. Anything you can say it as decomposition. For the process of decomposition, detritus is presented. What is detritus? Detritus means, I told you, whatever the organisms which are participating in decomposition process, they are also called as detrivores. Detrivores means which break down organic into smaller inorganic molecules. Then Here the waste material, that is the waste leaves or else the waste flowers which are present, all the dead and decayed leaves and flowers are contributing to that of detritus. Means whatever the waste matter which is present, that we call it as detritus. Like all the small decayed leaves and flowers, decayed leaves and all, we say it as detritus. So how we are proceeding with the process of decomposition is, usually there are five basic steps which are seen in the decomposition process. They are nothing but the first step. I'm going to write here. Again, in decomposition process, there are usually five steps like fragmentation. First is fragmentation. Second step is leaching. I want you all to remember it in an order because everything clearly it is followed as a process. This is a sequence. So I want you all to remember it in an order. Next, catabolism. Then the fourth one is humidification. Next, mineralization. These are the five steps which are present in the process of decomposition: fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, humidification, mineralization. About each step we have to see in detail. Like for fragmentation, by the name only you can understand. Don't get so much confused regarding this, because by name only you can understand, like fragmentation means what? Making it into smaller pieces. So what, in the process of decomposition, what are the particles which you break down into smaller particles is usually the detritus. That is the waste product which is present. You are breaking down into smaller particles. So that is only the step which is coming under fragmentation. So basically the detritus is broken down into smaller particles in the process of fragmentation. So making into smaller pieces, the name. Then next, when you come to leaching process. In the leaching process, first when we are discussing about the definition of the decomposition, what we have seen, the organisms like the organic constituents are broken down into the inorganic molecules. So numerous inorganic molecules are present. So in these inorganic molecules will go into the soil and get precipitated as unavailable salts. So in the process of leaching, they get precipitated. What? The inorganic molecules which are present, they get precipitated as unavailable salts. So this is the process of leaching. You don't need to think about how these are getting, how are the inorganic molecules formed. That is only, the process of like decomposition. The organic are broken down into inorganic, and these inorganic are in turn going down into the soil, and they are again getting precipitated as unavailable salts. So this is the process which is coming under the leaching. Next, catabolism, the third step. In the catabolism, basically, the bacterial and fungal enzymes which are present, Whatever, when there is a process of decomposition, the bacterial and fungal enzymes will act. We all know about that. So when the bacterial and fungal enzymes are acting and they are forming the more inorganic nutrients that they are forming by degrading the substances, this process is called as catabolism. Like here, the bacterial, only the bacterial and fungal enzymes will act here. And here they are getting, means they are broken down into smaller particles, the bacterial and fungal enzymes. They are getting precipitated as, they are getting degraded into smaller particles. So this is about the catabolism, and they are forming numerous inorganic nutrients. Next, the fourth process is humidification. Humidification means what? We all have learned about the humus. Humus means what? The waste part, that is the dark colored amorphous substance which is formed, is called as humus. The dead and decayed dark colored substance is called as humus. So when this humus is formed, basically, this process is called as humidification. When the humus is formed, the humus is usually the dead and decayed matter which is formed, is called as humus. Then next, in mineralization process, basically, in this mineralization process also, this humus which is formed in the fourth step, that is again degraded into smaller particles by the process of, by the minerals which are present in the soil. They are broken down, like the humus is broken down into smaller particles by the process which is called as mineralization. So the here you can write it as humus is broken down into small particles. This is the process which is called as mineralization. So in the process of humidification, usually the humus is usually the dark colored amorphous substance which is formed. Dark colored amorphous substance, and it is usually dead and decayed matter which is present. Decomposition means only what? The waste, the dead and decayed matter are broken down into simpler particles. Suppose you can give for decomposition example of earthworms. Earthworms, they help the in the process of decomposition. That's why they are called, as I told you, the word which we are specifying for decomposition. That is nothing but detrivores. So when we are specifying about the detrivores, basically means what? They are acting, they are playing an important role in the process of decomposition. So earthworms, they are also known as like friends of farmers. Why and how you know is like they are breaking down, they are helping in the process of the enriching the soil and for the growth of plants they are playing. So how this all is possible basically? So this all is possible by the process of decomposition only. So these are the different steps which we follow for the process of decomposition. So I want you to clearly understand, don't get so much confused. I have revised 2 or 3 times so that you'll easily understand what is like, what is the process, how it is going on and all. So first I have started with numerous ecology types of ecosystems. Then we have seen about what is the process, that is an example of aquatic ecosystem I have given. Then we have started with the process that is called as productivity, components of ecosystem productivity, what is gross primary, net primary productivity and all. Then we have seen about the decomposition process. What is decomposition? Means the breakdown of small into smaller molecules, like organic into inorganic molecules. So that we have seen. Then later about the 5 steps which are involved in decomposition is fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, humidification, and mineralization. Again, in fragmentation, detritus into smaller particles. Leaching, the inorganic molecules are getting precipitated as unavailable salts. Then catabolism is, remember, like bacterial and fungal enzymes are acting here. Humidification, humus is formed, a dark colored amorphous substance which is formed as humus. And then when you come to mineralization process, the humus is again further broken down and this results in mineralization. Next class we are going to continue with the topic that is called as energy flow, other two components of the ecosystem. Okay.